Hello, beautiful souls. Today is the final day of the year of the wood snake. And, I didn't expect to feel this emotional or this tired, but when I really sat with it, it made complete sense because this year for me has been all about shedding. I've closed so many chapters, romantic relationships I held on to for way longer than I should have, energies I stayed connected to out of familiarity, not alignment, and most significantly, I'm preparing to sign my divorce papers and close an 18-year cycle. That's almost 2 decades of my life. That's not just paperwork. That's identity. That's memory. That's a version of myself that existed for nearly half my life. The snake represents shedding old skin. And this year, I've been shedding mine. What I learned is that endings don't always feel dramatic. Sometimes they feel quiet. Sometimes they feel like exhaustion. Sometimes they feel like grief, relief, peace, and definitely uncertainty, all existing at the same time. And I think that's what the year of the wood snake has really been about. Not forcing transformation, but allowing ourselves to release what we've outgrown, to release timelines that no longer fit, to release identities that no longer reflect who we're becoming. If you've been feeling more emotional lately, more reflective, more tired, you may be shedding too. The snake doesn't ask you to become someone new overnight. It asks you to release who you no longer are, layer by layer, skin by skin, version by version. And I know for myself, this year has required a lot of courage. Courage to walk away, courage to close doors, courage to trust that what's ahead is more aligned than what's behind. If this resonates with you, comment snake. I'd love to know what you're releasing as the cycle closes. I'm going to pull a few cards now to see what still needs to be released energetically as we close the year of the wood snake. Because, closure isn't something you force in a single day. It's something that you honor. It's something you allow. And sometimes the final step isn't action. It's acceptance. So let's see what the cards reveal. All of these have been pre-shuffled. So universe, guardian angels, spirit guides, ancestors, star family. What messages do you have for the collective? What do they need to release with this closing of the year of the wood snake? What do they need to release? Ooh. I don't even know where that fell. Oh, under the table, of course. Three of Swords. Releasing things that no longer serve you. So resentment, unforgiveness. And that could be for yourself, maybe not just having to forgive others, but what do you need to forgive within yourself moving forward? Are you holding on to, what you think your life should have been and the choices that you made that you haven't come to full closure with, that you haven't accepted? Like I said, it's sometimes not about action. Sometimes it's about accepting the past, accepting what has happened so that you can actually move forward. Let's see what else we have here. We also got the Seven of Cups that was underneath the Three of Swords that fell out. So with the Seven of Cups, I feel like you need to let go of indecisiveness. And really, I think where that stems from is not trusting yourself, second guessing yourself. You have maybe multiple options and you don't know which path to pick. And instead of going within, you're asking other people what you should be doing with your life. So I think, moving into the year of the fire horse is more about alignment, trusting your intuition, trusting your instincts, making a decision. Let's see, let's get some clarification here. What else collective need to know about what they need to release? Please clarify. Cards just want to fly everywhere tonight. There's way too many that fell out, so I'm going to shuffle them back in. told to use a different deck. I'm going to use the Wild Unknown. Releasing anxiety, releasing what doesn't serve you anymore. Oh, 2 4s came out. We have the 4 of Swords and the 4 of Wands. And it's interesting because I was looking at the bottom of the deck for the Light Seers Tarot, and it was the 4 of Wands as well. So rest, recovery, allowing yourself to fully release that cycle, fully shed that skin. It's not always about action, like I said. Sometimes it's about acceptance and recovery. And I think it all stems together. It's like forgiving yourself, forgiving others, not sitting in indecisiveness, recovering. And then celebration comes. But it's also stability. If you look at, well, really cool. We have a 7 and the year of the fire horse. I mean, we're in a 1 year technically with 2026. So new beginnings. But also, you know, the year of the fire horse in the Chinese zodiac is actually a 7. So forward movement. So not sticking in indecisiveness, but forward movement, moving out of that old skin. And it's so interesting. There's actually a snake on this card. If you can see that, there's a snake on this card. So moving out of that indecisiveness, moving forward with your life, rest and recovery, victory, celebration. This is amazing energy. Let's get one more clarifier. Anything else the collective needs to know for the year of the snake? Shedding, releasing. Oh, this is beautiful. The 10 of Cups. I feel like this is not like what you need to release, but this is what's coming in when you do release. It's like emotional fulfillment. You might have had a lot of like emotional disengagement, dysregularity. I feel like with that 7 of Cups, where is it? And the 7 of Cups and the 3 of Swords, you have been maybe in emotional turmoil this last year, this last few years, this last decade, who knows? But when you're finally able to release that, forgive yourself, forgive others, focus on filling your heart with joy, filling your heart with love, having that rest and recovery and recuperation, celebration, victory, and emotional fulfillment. This is like everything you could have ever wanted in terms of emotional stability, fulfillment, excitement. Beautiful energy. Let's wrap up with an angel oracle. Anything you want the collective to know? Oh boy, lots of cards coming out here. I think you're coming out of time of scattered energy. Comes back to that 7 of Cups, like scattered energy, not really having a direction of knowing where to move forward. And with that rest and recovery, and after accepting and forgiving and having that emotional fulfillment, oh my gosh, it's going to feel so good. Angels, message for the collective. What do we have here? 1122, 1122, major change. Advice, comfort, major change, individuality, independence. Have faith in your skills and talents as they are a tool that can provide you with a bright future. Piece of good advice, a moment of enlightenment, or a comforting message is on its way. Everything will work out in your favor. So I just want to recap these cards and this energy because the message that came through is very clear. You know, this is a period of deep emotional release, healing, and completion, and it's preparing you for a completely new chapter. The first cards that came forward were the 3 of Swords and the 7 of Cups. The 3 of Swords speaks to heart healing, but more than anything, it speaks to forgiveness. So not just forgiving others, but really, forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for the timelines that didn't unfold the way you expected. Forgiving yourself for the choices you made or the choices that you didn't make. Forgiving yourself for holding on longer than you needed to, simply because you just didn't know any other way at that time. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about releasing the weight of what you've been carrying so that your heart can finally move forward. The Seven of Cups speaks to releasing confusion, illusion, and definitely indecision. This card is about coming back into alignment with yourself. No longer looking outside of yourself for the answers. No longer asking someone else what you should do. This is about trusting your own inner guidance. It's about shedding the old skin, the energy of the snake, and really just stepping into clarity. Then we have the Four of Swords, the Four of Swords, and the Four of Wands. And this is very important because the Four of Swords represents rest, recovery, and really integration. After a long period of emotional release and transformation, there is a need to rest, to allow your nervous system to settle, to allow yourself to fully integrate everything you've moved through. Healing doesn't happen in constant motion. Healing happens in stillness. The Four of Wands represents that stability, 4-4 energy, grounding, emotional security. This is the energy of rebuilding, of creating a new foundation that's aligned, stable, and supportive. So seeing the Four of Wands twice, because I saw it on the bottom of the deck shuffling the light seers, it reinforces that stability is returning. You're no longer standing on unstable ground. You're stepping into something much stronger. And then the Ten of Cups, and then finally, completion, emotional completion. 10 is completion energy. This is about closing a cycle that has shaped you on a very deep level. The Ten of Cups represents emotional fulfillment, peace, acceptance, and alignment. It doesn't mean everything happens perfectly. It means you've reached a point of acceptance with what was, and you're now open to what's next. Then we had the Angel Oracle, 1122. So closing these chapters and moving forward with this major change. It confirms that everything you've moved through has been preparing you for the next chapter. You're stepping into greater independence, greater clarity, and greater alignment with yourself. And even if it doesn't feel, quite fully clear yet, this is a transition point. You're no longer who you were, and you're not fully yet who you're becoming, but you're in that doorway. So this final shedding of the year of the wood snake and what's emerging now is the version of you that is lighter, clearer, and ready to move forward. Tomorrow begins the year of the fire horse, a completely different energy. It's forward movement, it's momentum, it's life force returning. So today isn't about rushing forward, it's about honoring what's completing. Stay tuned for tomorrow's reading. We will explore what the year of the fire horse is opening for you, because this isn't just an ending, it is a threshold. Love and light. Take care.